soft acoustic fingers on the strings, Thanksgiving night alone. Piano like a prayer I kept for someone I'd outgrown. Thanksgiving in Austin, every seat had to except for ours. I was fresh back home from nowhere, trading dreams for hospital parking lots and scars. Mom was sick, I put grad school on a shelf I couldn't reach. You were sober 90 days and learning how to speak. Kids were running through the living room, the table set with wine. You were holding ginger ale like it could save your life. I was barely holding mine. Someone said, go check the porch, there's room to breathe out there. We sat under Texas stars and traded all the truths we couldn't share. So we talked about the people we were running from inside. Let the November air hold all the things we couldn't hide. It wasn't fireworks or falling, just a voice that understood. Two lives under construction in a backyard somewhere good. You were learning how to stay clean, I was learning how to stay. Two hands on the same back railing, holding on in different ways. Ooh. You told me about the meetings, how the mornings felt too long, how you're supposed to trust the process, but you're terrified you're wrong. I told you about my mother's chemo schedule, least I couldn't break. How I thought I'd be in Boston with a thesis and a different kind of ache. We exchanged numbers by the driveway, hugged goodbye in yellow light, but neither one of us was ready to mean anything that night. I drove home through empty highways, saved your contact as November, thinking maybe in another year we'd both be put together. But we left it on that back porch where the cold was coming in, where the laughter from inside felt like a world we didn't fit in. It wasn't love abandoned, nothing shattered on the ground, just a moment in the healing when we both were too unwound. You were building back a new life, I was watching mine contract. Two souls on the same staircase, but we couldn't both look back. Now it's years in different cities, different versions of our names. Got a job up north in Denver, heard you're married now. It's strange how a single Thanksgiving evening in a Texas backyard glow could teach me I was lovable when I had forgotten how to know. You learned to tell your story without flinching at the seams. I learned I could come back home and still believe in leaving dreams. No bitter text in midnight, no what if to defend, just a handful of November sentences that helped us both begin. So I keep it in that back porch where we both were barely whole, where the string lights made us honest, where we spoke in undertones. It wasn't meant to break us, we were already breaking then. Just two people finding footing, learning how to try again. You were 3 months clean and fragile, I was holding on a thread. Two hearts that never touched, but still remember what we said. Ooh. Texas ground with the heater humming low and all the noise of this new town. And I think of you like kindness, like a door I didn't take. Not because it hurt to leave it, just because we had to wait. Neon flicker on the chrome, Maine coast wrapped up in the gloom. Late shift dishes in my hands, whole life packed in my old room. Foggy June on Route 1, tiny diner by the bay. You were flipping eggs and bacon, I was pouring coffee late. Saving every crumpled dollar in a jar beneath my bed. New York like an open suitcase, sitting loud inside my head. You just signed those papers, said the word divorce real low. Had a daughter down the shoreline, you refused to let go. We moved around each other like we'd done it all our lives, passing plates and quiet questions through the hiss and hum of fries. So we laughed under fluorescent while the ocean disappeared. Let the silverware and small talk carry everything we feared. It wasn't some big promise written in the summer sky, just a gentle kind of leaning we both never let get high. You were holding down a harbor, I was staring at the train. Two hearts behind the counter, learning how to breathe again. You tell me about the Tuesdays when you had your daughter nights, homework at your kitchen table, cartoon movies, porch light fights. I talk about the subway like I'd already moved there. Brooklyn windows, tiny bedrooms, running late through Union Square. We'd refill the locals' mugs and steal a moment by the sink. You'd ask if I'd missed the ocean, I said less than you might think. Every time we locked up late and wiped the ketchup from the boots, it felt like we were standing on the edge of something true. But we kept it in the diner with the blinds half open wide. Let the bell above the doorway drown the shift inside our eyes. It wasn't some confession, we were scared to speak out loud. Just your custody and my one-way dream dividing up the ground. You were tethered to a bedtime and a schoolyard down the street. I was counting down the paychecks till the city felt in reach. Now it's years and different skylines, different noise outside my door. Gotta walk up in Manhattan in a coat I couldn't afford. Sometimes in a crowded coffee shop when the weather smells like rain, I can hear that ticket printer, see the coastline, taste that Maine. You taught me I was craving more than just the flashing lights. Wanted someone who could anchor all my big and changing nights. You learned that you could open up and still keep what you begun. Didn't have to lose your daughter just to let in someone. So I leave us in that diner with the jukebox humming low, where but stay in Maine. You're a quiet coastal summer I can visit when I need. Not a road I should have taken, just a heart that helped me see. Neon flicker on the chrome, closing time and coffee steam. You stayed there and I kept going, and we both kept what we dreamed. Early March on a northbound line, city lights in the glass. I was counting out my endings, you were grieving what had passed. We left Chicago after midnight, Greyhound humming through the snow. I was quitting on a desk job that had stripped me to the bone. You were dressed in black and quiet, ticket crumpled in your hand. Said you buried your father's Sunday, didn't know who you now were without that man. We shared a plastic armrest and a flicker of a screen. Minnesota miles between us and the people we had been. Somewhere past Wisconsin, in that dusty highway glow, we started talking about our lives like there was nothing left to lose or show. So we stayed up in the dark while the whole bus tried to sleep. Let the highway hold the secrets we were both too tired to keep. It wasn't some beginning, no new chapter to defend, just a 5-hour stretch a night that made us both feel real again. You were learning how to breathe with all that sorrow in your chest. I was learning I could walk away and call that doing my best. We skipped our stops in conversation, talked to cities we'd outgrown. You said Minneapolis feels smaller now that I'm heading there alone. I laughed about my office window, how I never saw the sun, how I'd wake up with my laptop like the day had never begun. You asked about my parents, I asked if you'd sleep at all. You stared out at the truck stops like they'd answer when you called. We never said our last names, but we said the things that hurt, like strangers on a moving church with all the lights turned low and dirt. So we stayed up in the dark, let the road lines blur and bend, let the hum of old upholstery be the shoulder we could lend. It wasn't some confession that would follow us for years, just a night where all the numbness finally cracked around your tears. You were heading back to family, I was headed back to none. Two lives turning different corners underneath the same cold sun. Now it's late in some small bedroom with a different city view. Got a lease in downtown Denver, found a job that feels more true. Sometimes when the buses pass along the freeway past my street, I remember how that night made me get up on my own 2 feet. You went home to all that absence, learned to say his name out loud. I learned leaving wasn't failure, it was stepping from a crowd. No follow-up, no airport run, no second chance to chase, just a number in my phone that time politely erased. But we were there inside that dark, where the ceiling vents hum low, where the March wind fogged the windows and the past sat in our throats. It wasn't love abandoned, there was nothing there to lose, just two hearts at different crossroads, finally brave enough to choose. You're a quiet Greyhound memory on a Midwest winter night. Not a wound I keep reopening, just the start of getting right. Early March on a northbound line, city lights in the glass. Some people stay a whole life long, some just help you make it past. Soft the porcelain on the floor, late August in my head. Piano like a porch light glow, where every word we left unsaid. End of August, Portland sky, cardboard on the stairs. You were laughing at your own bad jokes, sweat dark on your shirt somewhere. I was fresh out of a long-term love, 4 years packed in the trunk. New lease on a walk-up life, hand-me-down couch, second-hand look. Pacific Northwest air hanging heavy with the rain. You said you missed the Midwest fields, I said I like the change. We sat out in that courtyard while the Sunday faded slow. You were talking about your office, I was broken, didn't know how to tell you that my heart kept reaching out across that space, like it recognized your story, but was scared to call it fate. So I kept it on the front steps, let the quiet lead the song, let the concrete take the weight of everything that felt half strong. It wasn't some explosion, no one's world fell apart, just a soft Pacific evening that rewired my heart. You were chasing down a city, I was learning how to stay. 2 lives in one small courtyard, pointed different ways. You were checking flights to Denver, Boston, lighting up your phone, talking salary and long canes, how you'd finally be on your own. I was Googling grad school deadlines on our shared apartment Wi-Fi, counting student loan reminders while the months kept rolling by. You said the Midwest made you restless, needed bigger, louder skies. I said I'd never done a road trip that far east in all my life. Every beer we nursed at midnight on those chipped cement front stairs felt like standing in a doorway that we never really dared. I could feel you in the distance, even sitting by my side, like your suitcase in the hallway, always ready for the drive. So we kept it on the front steps, let the quiet lead the song, let the porch light paint our shadows where we almost belong. It wasn't some confession, no big promise to defend, just a couple of late night stories that we never let extend. You were chasing coastlines, I was scared to leave this street. 2 maps on the same table, fold into different beats. it's years in different cities, different keys in my front door. Got a tiny Brooklyn apartment, creaking second-hand old floor. Sometimes on a California freeway, headlights stretching like a prayer. I remember how in Portland you were almost halfway there. You taught me I was looking for someone who could stand still. You learned you loved the motion more than any kind of thrill. No big fight and no goodbye scene, no airport letting go. Just a handful of quiet evenings that somehow told us both that we'd leave it on the front steps, where the August air was thin, where the crickets scored our silence and the night kept folding in. It wasn't love collapsing, nothing perfect tore in two, just a life you built on highways and a life I grew into. You kept moving through the seasons, I learned how to come back home. Two hearts that never shattered, just grew up on their own. Now it's late in some small bedroom in another U.S. town, with the window cracked to traffic and the TV turned down. And I write you like a footnote in the story of my spine. Nothing left to circle back to, just a moment out of line. Late September in the mountains, fairy lights and curling fog. I was tracing names on place cards, you were talking to the dog. We were at the singles table at your cousin's wedding night. Smoky Mountains, sky outside, string lights bleeding into white. I had one foot in Seattle, fellowship and rain-soaked streets, boxes waiting in my hallway, brand new life I'd yet to meet. You were 6 months into fatherhood, with half your weekends gone, driving back and forth on highways just to see your little son. The DJ played old country, we just laughed and rolled our eyes. You said, I don't really dance, then you pulled me to your side. So we circled that wood floor like we'd done it all our lives. Let the band and all the chatter drown the fear behind our eyes. It wasn't some big promise written in a mountain sky, just a couple of quiet moments where our edges felt the line. You were grounded in a bedtime, 2 whole states away from here. I was chasing western skylines I've been dreaming of for years. We slipped out to the terrace when they cut the wedding cake. You were scrolling through kid photos, showing me his latest face. I was talking about apartments, Craigslist links, and coffee shops. Joked about the endless drizzle, list of things that I'd give up. You said, I love that you're excited. I remember feeling brave, but your voice got kinda quiet when you said he still needs me to stay. We stayed until the DJ packed his cables in the dark, then wandered through the the parking lot beneath those tired stars. In that Smoky Mountain parking lot with gravel in our shoes, we were talking like old friends at the edge of something new. It wasn't some confession we were scared to take too far, just a kiss beside your bumper and a hand against my car. You were half a life in pieces, I was halfway out the door. Two hearts pressed to the window of a night we couldn't store. Now it's late in a Seattle, walk up staring at the rain. Got a coffee on the windowsill and boxes with my name. Sometimes when the streetlights hit the glass just like they did on that mountain wedding evening when we both felt like kids. I remember how you laughed when I said love could wait its turn, how that night kept something gentle I've been slow to let unlearn. You went back to early morning soccer fields and schoolyard calls. I went on to open up to being wanted after all. So I leave us in that parking lot where our cars were cooling down, where the music fell far away and the world was not as loud. It wasn't love abandoned, there was nothing there to lose, just a father and a girl with planes making different moves. You're a soft September evening in the foothills that I passed, not a story I regret, just one that wasn't built to last. Somewhere in the Smoky Mountains there's a gravel patch of ground where I learned I could be loved again, and you felt like more than dad somehow. Soft acoustic fingers on the strings, Thanksgiving night. Piano like a prayer I kept for someone I'd outgrown. Thanksgiving in Austin, every seat at two except for ours. I was fresh back home from nowhere, trading dreams for hospital parking lots and scars. Mom was sick, I put grad school on a shelf I couldn't reach. You were sober 90 days and learning how to speak. Kids were running through the living room, the table set with wine. You were holding ginger ale like you could save your life. I was barely holding mine. Someone said go check the porch, there's room to breathe out there. We sat under Texas stars and traded all the truths we couldn't share. So we talked about the people we were running from inside. Let the November air hold all the things we couldn't hide. It wasn't fireworks or falling, just a voice that understood. Two lives under construction in a backyard somewhere good. You were learning how to stay clean, I was learning how to stay. Two hands on the same back railing, holding on in different ways. You told me about the meetings, how the mornings felt too long, how you're supposed to trust the process, but you're terrified you're wrong. I told you about my mother's chemo schedule, lease I couldn't break. How I thought I'd be in Boston with a thesis in a different kind of ache. We exchanged numbers by the driveway, hugged goodbye in a yellow light, but neither one of us was ready to mean anything that night. I drove home through empty highways, saved your contact as November, thinking maybe in another year we'd both be put together. But we left it on that back porch where the cold was coming in, where the laughter from inside felt like a world we didn't fit in. It wasn't love abandoned, nothing shattered on the ground, just a moment in the healing when we both were too unwound. You were building back a new life, I was watching mine contract. Two souls on the same staircase, but we couldn't both look back. Now it's years in different cities, different versions of our names. Got a job up north in Denver, heard you're married now. It's strange how a single Thanksgiving evening in a Texas backyard glow could teach me I was lovable when I had forgotten how to know. You learned to tell your story without flinching at the seams. I learned I could come back home and still believe in leaving dreams. No bitter text at midnight, no what if to defend, just a handful of November sentences that helped us both begin. So I keep it in that back porch where we both were barely whole, where the string lights made us honest, where we spoke in undertones. It wasn't meant to break us, we were already breaking then, just two people finding footing, learning how to try again. You were 3 months clean and fragile, I was holding on the thread. Two hearts that never touched, but still remember what we said. Now it's late and I'm in some small apartment far from Texas ground, with the heater humming low and all the noise of this new town. And I think of you like kindness, like a door I didn't take, not because it hurt to leave it, just because we had to wait. Neon flicker on the chrome, main coast wrapped up in the gloom. Late shift dishes in my hands, whole life packed in my old room. Foggy June on Route 1, tiny diner by the bay. You were flipping eggs and bacon, I was pouring coffee late, saving every crumpled dollar in a jar beneath my bed. New York like an open suitcase, sitting loud inside my head. You just signed those papers, said the word divorce real low. Had a daughter down the shoreline, you refused to let go. We moved around each other like we'd done it all our lives, passing plates and quiet questions through the hiss and hum of fries. So we laughed under fluorescent while the ocean disappeared. Let the silverware and small talk carry everything we feared. It wasn't some big promise written in the summer sky, just a gentle kind of leaning we both never let was staring at the train. Two hearts behind the counter, learning how to breathe again. You tell me about the Tuesdays when you had your daughter nights, homework at your kitchen table, cartoon movies, porch light fights. I talk about the subway like I'd already moved there. Brooklyn windows, tiny bedrooms, running late through Union Square. We'd refill the locals' mugs and steal a moment by the sink. You'd ask if I'd missed the ocean. I said less than you might think. Every time we locked up late and wiped the ketchup from the boots, it felt like we were standing on the edge of something true. But we kept it in the diner with the blinds half open wide. Let the bell above the doorway drown the shift inside our eyes. It wasn't some confession, we were scared to speak out loud. Just your custody and my one-way dream dividing up the ground. You were tethered to a bedtime and a schoolyard down the street. I was counting down the paychecks till the city felt in reach. Now it's years and different skylines, different noise outside my door. Gotta walk up in Manhattan in a coat I couldn't afford. Sometimes in a crowded coffee shop, when the weather smells like rain, I can hear that ticket printer, see the coastline, taste that Maine. You taught me I was craving more than just the flashing lights. Wanted someone who could anchor all my big and changing nights. You learned that you could open up and still keep what you'd begun. Didn't have to lose your daughter just to let in someone. So I leave us in that diner with the jukebox humming low, where the tourists tipped in small bills and the fog refused to go. It wasn't love abandoned, we were careful with the flame. Just two separate constellations, drawing close but staying named. You're a quiet coastal summer I can visit when I need. Not a road I should have taken, just a heart that helped me see. Neon flicker on the chrome, closing time and coffee steam. You stayed there and I kept going, and we both kept what we dreamed. Early March on a northbound line, city lights in the glass. I was counting out my endings, you were grieving what had passed. We left Chicago after midnight, Greyhound humming through the snow. I was quitting on a desk job that had stripped me to the bone. You were dressed in black and quiet, ticket crumpled in your hand. Said you'd buried your father's Sunday, didn't know who you now were without that man. We shared a plastic armrest and a flicker of a screen. Minnesota miles between us and the people we had been. Somewhere past Wisconsin, in that dusty highway glow, we started talking about our lives like there was nothing left to lose or show. So we stayed up in the dark let the highway hold the secrets we were both too tired to keep. It wasn't some beginning, no new chapter to defend, just a 5-hour stretch a night that made us both feel real again. You were learning how to breathe with all that sorrow in your chest. I was learning I could walk away and call that doing my best. We skipped our stops in conversation, talked of cities we'd outgrown. You said Minneapolis feels smaller now that I'm heading there alone. I laughed about my office window, how it never saw the sun, how I'd wake up with my laptop like the day had never begun. You asked about my parents, I asked if you'd sleep at all. You stared out at the truck stops like they'd answer when you called. We never said our last names, but we said the things that hurt, like strangers on a moving church with all the lights turned low and dirt. So we stayed up in the dark, let the road lines blur and bend, let the hum of old upholstery be the shoulder we could lend. It wasn't some confession that would follow us for years, just a night where all the numbness finally cracked around your tears. You were heading back to family, I was headed back to none. Two lives turning different corners underneath the same cold sun. Now it's late in some small bedroom with a different city view. Got a lease in downtown Denver, found a job that feels more true. Sometimes when the buses pass along the freeway past my street, I remember how that night made me get up on my own 2 feet. You went home to all that absence, learned to say his name out loud. I learned leaving wasn't failure, it was stepping from a crowd. No follow-up, no airport run, no second chance to chase, just a number in my phone that time politely erased. But we were there inside that dark, where the ceiling vents hung low, where the March wind fogged the windows and the past sat in our throats. It wasn't love abandoned, there was nothing there to lose, just two hearts at different crossroads, finally brave enough to choose. You're a quiet Greyhound memory on a Midwest winter night, not a wound I keep reopening, just the start of getting right. Early March on a northbound line, city lights in the glass. Some people stay a whole life long, some just help you make it past. Soft acoustic on the floor, late August in my head, piano like a porch light glow where every word we left unsaid. End of August Portland sky, cardboard on the stairs. You were laughing at your own bad jokes, wet dark on your shirt somewhere. I was fresh out of a long-term love, 4 years packed in the trunk, new lease on a walk-up life, hand-me-down couch, second-hand luck. Pacific Northwest air hanging heavy with the rain. You said you miss the Midwest fields, I said I like the change. We sat out in that courtyard while the Sunday faded slow. You were talking about your office surface I was broken, didn't know how to tell you that my heart kept reaching out across that space, like it recognized your story but was scared to call it fate. So I kept it on the front steps, let the quiet lead the song, let the concrete take the weight of everything that felt half strong. It wasn't some explosion, no one's world fell apart, just a soft Pacific evening that rewired my heart. You were chasing down a city, I was learning how to stay. Two lives in one small courtyard, pointed different ways. You were checking flights to Denver, Boston, lighting up your phone, talking salary and long commutes, how you'd finally be on your own. I was Googling grad school deadlines on our shared apartment Wi-Fi, counting student loan reminders while the months kept rolling by. You said the Midwest made you restless, needed bigger, louder skies. I said I'd never done a road trip that far east in all my life. Every beer we nursed at midnight on those chips and then front stairs felt like standing in a doorway that we'd never really dared. I could feel you in the distance, even sitting by my side, like your suitcase in the hallway, always ready for the drive. So we kept it on the front steps, let the quiet lead the song, let the porch light paint our shadows where we almost belong. It wasn't some confession, no big promise to defend, just a couple of late night stories that we never let extend. You were chasing coastlines, I was scared to leave this street. Two maps on the same table, fold into different beats. Now it's years in different cities, different keys in my front door. Got a tiny Brooklyn apartment, creaking second-hand old floors. Sometimes on a California freeway, headlights stretching like a prayer. I remember how in Portland you were almost halfway there. You taught me I was looking for someone who could stand still. You learned you loved the motion more than any kind of thrill. No big fight and no goodbye scene, no airport letting go, just a handful of quiet evenings that somehow told us both that we leave it on the front steps, where the August air was thin, where the crickets scored our silence and the night kept folding in. It wasn't love collapsing, nothing perfect tore in two, just a life you built on highways and a life I grew into. You kept moving through the seasons, I learned how to come back home. Two hearts that never shattered, just grew up on their own. Now it's late in some small bedroom in another U.S. town, with the window cracked to traffic and the TV turned down. And I write you like a footnote in the story of my spine. Nothing left to circle back to, just a moment out of line. Late September in the mountains, fairy lights and curling fog. I was tracing names on place cards, you were talking to the dog. We were at the singles table at your cousin's wedding night. Smoky Mountains, sky outside, string lights bleeding in the white. I had one foot in Seattle, fellowship in rain-soaked streets, boxes waiting in my hallway, brand new life I'd yet to meet. You were 6 months into fatherhood, with half your weekends gone, driving back and forth on highways just to see your little son. The DJ played old country, we just laughed and rolled our eyes. You said, I don't really dance, then you pulled me to your side. So we circled that wood floor like we'd done it all our lives. Let the band and all the chatter drown the fear behind our eyes. It wasn't some big promise written in a mountain sky, just a couple of quiet moments where our edges felt aligned. You were grounded in a bedtime 2 whole states away from here. I was chasing western skylines I've been dreaming of for years. We slipped out to the terrace when they cut the wedding cake. You were scrolling through kid photos, showing me his latest face. I was talking about apartments, Craigslist links and coffee shops, joked about the endless drizzle, list of things that I'd give up. You said, I love that you're excited. I remember feeling brave, but your voice got kinda quiet when you said he still needs me to stay. Stayed until the DJ packed his cables in the dark, then wandered through the parking lot beneath those tired stars. In that Smoky Mountain parking lot with gravel in our shoes, we were talking like old friends at the edge of something new. It wasn't some confession we were scared to take too far, just a kiss beside your bumper and a hand against my car. You were half a life in pieces, I was halfway out the door, 2 hearts pressed to the window of a night we couldn't store. Now it's late in a Seattle walk up, staring at the rain. Got a coffee on the windowsill and boxes with my name. Sometimes when the streetlights hit the glass just like they did on that mountain wedding evening when we both felt like kids. I remember how you laughed when I said love could wait its turn, how that night kept something gentle I've been slow to let unlearn. You went back to early mornings, soccer fields and schoolyard calls. I went on to open up to being wanted after all. So I leave us in that parking lot where our cars were cooling down, where the music felt far away and the world was not as loud. It wasn't love abandoned, there was nothing there to lose, just a father and a girl with planes making different moves. You're a soft September evening in the foothills that I passed, not a story I regret, just one that wasn't built to last. Somewhere in the Smoky Mountains there's a gravel patch of ground where I learned I could be loved again, and you felt like more than dead, son.